Hello, good morning. We're going to be doing something slightly different over the next 4 weeks, in that we're going to be looking at the story of the Colonel Thomas Monstery and his self-penned novel, which is said to be quasi-autobiographical, the title called El Rubio Bravo, the King of the Swordsmen. Now, whilst we're going to be taking some excerpts from El Rubio Bravo, it's important to note that we have taken some liberties with the story. One, for just scansion and reading, and again, just because some of the writing is very much of its time, which is to say that some of the attitudes that are contained in this document are not necessarily ones we'd share now. So discretion is advised, and we will warn you if there's anything that should come up. However, we will start with the story, and our story starts in Honduras in Central America, where the revolution-prone country is currently held by the president, Guardiola. And we come first to a Yankee steamer steaming out of the fog and approaching a fort called the Castle, where it's implied that garrison captains are looking to skim from the passengers. We're introduced first of all to Monstery's own self-insert, Olaf, a 30-year-old man described as tall as an oak and with the finest moustache and hair that shined as flax in the sun, which is where he got his name, El Rubio, as that is what it's described as in the local tongue. He's described with eyes of the deepest, most fierce blue, and with the build of a lean muscularity and as straight as an arrow. "Olaf, you fool," are his first words as he enters the story. "In this low place of honour you'll never see your Carmelita again." Although he's described in simple clothing and an old straw hat, it's revealed that in his two travelling chests are arms that reveal a wealth of weapons and exquisite uniform. He's referred to as the prisoner because his reasons for coming to the fort, well, they weren't his choice. Olaf immediately begins in the manner that will come to know him, by taking several cigars from from one of 6 boxes in the 2 chests, and not offering any to the captains on the skim. Olaf declares that the soldiers of the castle to be barely even worth the concern, and somebody he can lick like children, and even the whole country would be barely a concern. Not wanting to deal with his boorish new prisoner, and wanting access to his chests of arms and luxuries and jewels, it is declared by the captains that he's trying to escape. However, the guard in Olaf's eyes were sleepy, undisciplined, and without a moment's hesitation, he took the bayoneted musket from the nearest sleepy guard and with a hefty kick sends him to the floor, spinning momentarily to parry a vicious thrust from the bayonet of Captain Domingo, and with a flick he sends the captain also tumbling to the ground. Now, within moments the garrison was on him, and with gazelle-like grace he dances around them and their bayonets, flooring and disarming them with regular circular motions of his practised grace, but never ever returning a thrust. For an age he fought in the 100-degree heat, and growing red and drenched with the sweat of his exertion, he never really gets the upper hand. As he begins to realise only that death would come to him if he does not deliver it to them first, he steels himself to kill them all until a voice calls for peace, as Colonel Baldremos asks for a moment's respite. "Are you the prisoner?" the colonel asks, at which point the prisoner declares, "I am Olaf Svensson, Master Instructor to the Tsar himself, His Majesty the King of Spain and Instructor General of Cuba. I am your prisoner and at your service." The colonel shakes his hand. "Prisoner no more, El Rubio. I have heard of you, and the President himself has needs of your services. Indeed, services of the King of all swordsmen." And with that, the colonel ordered Olaf to be delivered as an honoured guest to the private residence of Baldremos himself.